Welcome to the Real Estate Virgins podcast, where we are here to elevate your business, take your business to the next level. We're not just agents talking the talk, we're agents walking the walk, sharing strategies and tactics that work for us. We have been doing it for a while now and have helped several hundreds of families sell and buy homes. And we are also partners with some of the best real estate agents in the United States that are doing unbelievable numbers. So we're rubbing shoulders and always learning new things. And we are here to help you sell more homes. Today, we're going to be talking about an important topic, several important topics. One is divorce listings, and
Haven't talked about that yet, which is kind of surprising.
yeah, I know. And there's so many strategies that you can do to help that situation, and surprisingly enough, sometimes they can get pretty difficult. And so we're going to go over that today. But we have our co-host, Jordan Brown.
What's going on, family? Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, our very last episode, we talked about leverage, about leveraging your time. So if that's something that you're interested in hearing about, go listen to the last one. Like John said, we got a pretty good variety of topics to talk about today, largely in part divorce listings. You can find me on Instagram at JordanSellsATX, and you can follow the Real Estate Virgins podcast at Real Estate Virgins podcast on Instagram.
Yes.
Where can people find you, brother?
At John Michael Perez on Instagram.
We're big on Instagram. I feel like Instagram is like my new favorite messaging tool to connect with people. I get to see a little bit of their background. I get to see like what's important to them. I get to see like their family and stuff like that and what they do for work. So
yeah. And one thing, we're trying to grow our YouTube channel, and it's slowly but surely growing. And so
we don't promote it at all. It's all very organic. So we're relying on you guys, the listeners, to, if you like it, please, it would be an honor for us if we earned your subscription. That would be awesome. If you've gotten any value out of any of the content that we've been posting, please share the love with a subscription and let us know in the comments what you liked most about the episodes.
And we're going to give a gift away, 5 video scripts. So these are scripts of exactly what to say in a video. I'll give those away. If you comment below, just say I'm in, and we will send over 5 video scripts for free if you subscribe and comment on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I'm wearing sunglasses inside because it is hot here in Texas. It's been absolutely brutal. I'm over it, man. I'm not a warm weather person. And I know it's so hard because Texas summers, this is like the time in your business where you're the busiest, and wearing pants outside in Texas summer, like showing houses, I hate it. I hate it so much. But anyway, I'm over the glasses. I'm taking them off now. I'm all business.
Very cool. Yeah, I actually played golf for the first time today, and I wore some of those very comfortable golf pants. They're that certain material that's like, what is it?
Like moisture wicking.
Yes. Yeah. It was.
How's your swing? Was that your first time playing golf?
You can hear my son screaming in the background. First time playing a full 18 holes.
18's brutal. Yeah. Was it in the morning, like early in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, that's smart.
And guys, I'm sorry, but I suck at golf.
Everyone does, I think. I think if you just stick with it long enough, you kind of separate yourself from the pack. Golf is one of the, I'll give me my little experience with golf. Golf is the most frustrating sport I've ever played, because if you're not good and you get frustrated, I remember like being so mad because I was whiffing, and I went and I swung it, and the ball like clipped up and went backwards. And I'm like, how do I hit a negative yardage ball? I don't understand it. That's so funny. Yeah. And so it's not one of those where like, oh, I'm going to go out there and like smash a baseball and I'm going to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Because I'm angry. It's like, no, you've got to focus. You've got to be very, it rewards the discipline and repetition and like execution, as opposed to not controlling your anger. It's not a good angry sport.
Yeah. So I was playing today, and I got 3 leads while I was in the golf cart.
Okay.
And we were driving.
Were they people at the golf course, or like what happened?
No, I was just getting calls while I was with my friends, and one guy, and the reason why we're going to be talking about this is because is because one of them is a divorce lead, right? And so had to navigate that while playing golf. I hope he doesn't hear this.
Yeah, right.
But several leads. It's funny because like I'll be doing the most random things and leads will come in, but I got to answer them.
Yeah.
And
Well, Katie and I went on a date night for the first time since our son just turned 7 months, and so for the last 7 months we haven't had really any private time or like a date or anything. So our good friends up the highway watched Landon for a few hours, and of course I've been planning, like we've been looking forward to this, and I'm like, I'm not kidding you. We dropped it off and the babysitter said, "Stay off your phone," and I said, "I'll try." And sure enough, I get an offer on a listing that I have to start fielding and going back and forth with. And then I got a listing going live that I had to get all the documents, photographer, all that. Like they said, they gave me the green light to get it going. So I was like,
you need a transaction coordinator.
Oh, I know, dude. Well, we talked about it last episode. It hasn't been a lot of time since we recorded the last one, so give me some grace here. But I absolutely need a transaction coordinator to get a lot of this stuff, because I feel like I wear myself out from being a control freak. We talked about that last episode. I won't get too much into it, but yeah, no, I need to listen to my own podcast advice and hire a transaction coordinator. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's made my life so much easier, just having a team in general so that I can focus.
And I think some people may not know, like someone who's listening right now, maybe your broker or whoever hasn't told you what a transaction coordinator is or what they do. I know that ours, I want to say you pay them at closing a fee, and I think the average is somewhere between, I'm not going to, like $200 to $500, somewhere in there per transaction. And these are typically agents or someone who's experienced, like they're experienced in this industry, and they do your paperwork. Mm-hmm. They field email stuff for you, where if you get an offer and you say, "Hey, please include my transaction coordinator moving forward," they can like handle addendums and all that good amendments, all that good stuff.
Everything online, they could pretty much, all you need to do is give them the address and the price. And if they already know like your general information, like how much you charge or whatever, address and price, they'll get everything set up.
Well, you can spend an easy 30 minutes to an hour just getting a listing uploaded into the MLS.
Yeah. So what I do is pretty cool. My assistant, I literally send her the address, send her the price, and then any other details. It's usually not much. She'll get the listing agreement. She'll send it, get it signed. She'll put everything up on the MLS, and then as soon as the day's ready, I do set up the photos. That's the only thing, and then I give the photos to her.
Yeah.
She uploads everything. We get an offer. I give the offer to my assistant. The assistant gets everything signed. Then she can send amendments, and then she sends out updates to the buyer or the seller, and then sends out updates from the lender. She gets information from the other side of the transaction.
I need a transaction coordinator. Straight up, bro.
Literally, I mean, one of the transactions you and I did, I literally just got the offer, gave it to her, done, and we closed. And so now I'm not doing anything. And all the paperwork in the back end.
Well, $400 like to free up how much time is so
40
so
hours,
worth it. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe 20 hours. I don't know. Okay, so first off, a little off track, but I really wanted to talk about the importance of staying in front of past clients. And the thing is that there's certain strategies that you can stay in front of them automatically that a lot of people don't know about.
and this is universal too. This isn't just when you're busy or when you don't have business. It's important to stay in front of these people constantly, because I know just from my experience, you can close a deal, and if it's a few years past, they may not remember you.
Yeah.
If you haven't kept up with them and you haven't stayed in their lives or like stayed as a constant presence, unless they're like your friends or something where you see them every week. I've earned business from people who have used realtors within the last 2 years, and I'm earning the business over them. And I think it's just from being a presence in their lives.
Yep.
So follow-up's key. I've preached that for a very, very long time.
So the thing is there's several programs and opportunities where you can put up past clients' information in once, And then pretty much for the rest of their life, they're getting something from you, right? And so for me, a lot of times it's either a newsletter or a KV Core drip campaign. I'll literally put their information in once, right? And then also I do magazines. So magazines have really helped me. I've set it up once, and then for every 3 months, they get a magazine with my face on it. And it's really cool when people send me a picture. Hey,
I see people in the dads group posting saying, "Hey, look at whose magazine I got."
yeah, and it's something I set up years ago, right? And so now, like all these people, the magazines have really helped. I think I've talked about this before, but I've closed 4 or 5 deals from people because one, the magazine, everybody thinks that like I put it together or like,
And it looks really good. It looks very professional.
and it's inside secret. I have no idea what's inside the magazine. Like they just set it up and put my face on it.
I saw that the online they have like a, depending on when you're looking at it, they have an example, and it's like John's green bean casserole recipe, and you're like,
Yeah.
John ain't making no green bean casserole. But it's cool. It's all like homey based stuff. They have different categories. We're not going to mention a name. That would be for a sponsorship opportunity.
Ooh,
but
that's not a bad idea.
But you know, just little tactical tips like that where there are programs. And these are paid services. These are not free. But how much do you need to pay? Like, what's one more deal? That comes from that. What does that commission look like in your market? Where if you don't do it, it's 100% missed opportunity.
Yep.
Versus if your conversion rate on the magazines is 5% and you're sending out 100, that's 5 leads.
Yeah.
You know and then the commission from that it could be a huge return on investment.
Well, here's the thing. That same company does postcards, and I've never gotten any return on postcards. Not once.
Postcards are tough. I've heard so many people say that they're hit or miss, and the people who say that they hit, they do it super consistently, like every month, every holiday.
Yeah. These are cold postcards, so they're just to random people within a neighborhood. But I've never. Have you ever closed a deal from a postcard?
No. Long story short, no. I have gotten a lead from it in my neighborhood. I made this really cool. What I try to do is I try to do very eye-catching designs because I feel like if I'm a consumer as well. Mm-hmm. So when I get something in the mail and it's unsolicited, meaning I didn't ask for it, I want something that catches my eye, has something funny, has something relatable. And so I put a picture of half the page was a llama. It was a llama's head.
Yeah.
And it said, "Selling with Jordan is no problema." Mm-hmm. And I got a call from that one.
Okay.
Now, this was whenever I was working at
Keep talking.
telecom company. I'm not going to say where, but I was working there still, and I was on the sales floor, and this person called me. And what I wish I would have done is I wish I could have been able to say, "Let me come meet you at your house now." And I couldn't do that because I was still working.
Gotcha.
Still working my part-time job. And so that part-time job cost me that opportunity because I check every now and then. I check the county appraisal district. They're still there, but the communication has stopped.
Yeah.
And I think it was because they could tell I was probably distracted at my job. I couldn't pull up information. I couldn't look up things on the MLS, nothing. Like I couldn't confirm details about the home. It was very like I'm actively with a client and they were calling me about my postcard. So I'm not saying that they absolutely can't work. I personally haven't closed for one reason or another. I would love that same opportunity right now. So maybe it's time for another round of no problema cards.
Yeah.
With the turnover in my neighborhood, it's probably going to all new homeowners anyway. So
That's true.
so many people moving in and out of. There's a big renter presence in my neighborhood too. So lots of pandemic landlords were birthed out of my neighborhood.
Yeah. I'm trying to look like 10 years ahead, and I'm like, I don't know if doesn't pertain to any. I don't know if I'm going to be in this area for 10 years because there's so many things changing within our area that I'm like, huh.
Well, dude, think about when we bought out here. I mean, you bought before I did, but I remember coming out here and going, man, this is the boonies where you lived. And I live now 10 minutes more north than where you were.
Yeah.
And just from 2018 to now, our area is completely different.
Yeah.
We have a furniture mart, like little shopping strip there. There's offices being built right in front of our neighborhood. We now have an apartment complex that's built on the south end of the neighborhood.
Restaurants.
So much stuff is popping up. All this along the highway used to just be trees.
Yeah.
It was like forest.
I've just built up such a brand and have built so many relationships in this area. I think it would be so hard to start over.
100%. That's what's kept me and Katie here for a large part. I mean, our whole life is here, and with the way that we're currently set up, she's not having to work. And so if we were to uproot, and I would literally have to start over. I have no bearing anywhere else in an industry where your relationships matter and your relationships convert. Mm-hmm. And so starting from ground zero is scary.
I don't know how people do it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Suman did it, but that was lightning in a bottle, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
he went cross country. I wouldn't move away from Texas, I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe Colorado. Colorado is like my retirement goal. That's where I want to. That's where I want to live and retire.
Colorado
in the mountains. Like, I keep seeing pictures. I browse on. I'm just like everyone else, bro.
You're normal. You're not a celebrity like everybody thinks.
I look on Zillow and I'm scrolling through and I'm like, dang, here's like a townhome in the middle of the mountains with a jacuzzi. And how sick would it be to have snow around you in a jacuzzi with your friends? And
that's why we got to work on our growing our team, man. So
I know.
So that we can live wherever we want. Okay, so and that leads me to one other thing. We've built up a lot of relationships in this area, and we're hanging out with a ton of friends. When is talking about real estate too much?
Oh, I mean, I'm over it, dude. I can't turn it off.
Really?
It's so unfortunate because I've gotten really good. I think whenever I first started in like that mode in you of constantly prospecting, that's difficult to turn off because
so
you think as a new agent, you're like, I gotta let these people know I'm an agent. How do I slip this in here? And now like I don't do it that way. But I think whenever you're newer and you're trying to just get everyone to know that you're an agent, right? You're not being a secret agent.
Yeah.
You can come off very annoying, and the conversation feels very forced. Now I think there's more sly ways to get that done, and I've told it with my mentees. I use the Ford method: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. When I meet someone new, the conversation is almost so much easier because you have this outlined formula to say, "Hey, dude, so nice to meet you. Like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you have family here in the area? Mm-hmm. No. Oh, well, what brought you down here? Was it work? What do you do for work?" Now, like I'm uncovering opportunities, and what's cool about the occupation part is almost naturally they're going to go, "How about you?" Yeah. Then I get to go, "Well, I'm a realtor here in the area. I help millennials like you and me buy homes." Like, that's how I do it now. Instead of being like, "How can I plug this in?" Like, how before I leave, "Hey, dude, it was so nice meeting you. Remember, I'm an agent, bro. Like, I'll help you."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
I don't even tell people. It sounds funny and so not what I used to do, but I don't really even tell people I'm a real estate agent anymore. They just find out on my Facebook.
Most of the time, and I think that's the plan, is to plan a really good foundation, show that you're not that salesy, like I only care about myself salesperson.
Yeah.
And you lay a foundation for a good relationship. You add them on Facebook. They'll see my videos, and that's how it all goes.
Somebody at church the other day said, "Dude, all I see is your face on my Facebook." I go, "Then it's working."
Right.
And it's funny because I don't talk to him about real estate in real life. Like, and he's asking me questions in real life, you know?
I had a great conversation today with someone who I've met in person one time. And after we met in person one time, I added her on Facebook. We're both in the hockey community. So like, that's kind of how we know each other vaguely. Yeah. But then, I post my listing today, and then I made a video about a walk home community or a model home tour that I did for a local model home. And she reaches out to me and she said, "Hey, here's this plot. Like, what do you know about buying plots of land? And this and this." And then we start going over some options, and it turns out that's not going to be a good option, but she's pre-approved up to, a certain amount, and she doesn't want to spend that much, but there's 197 options that are below half of that.
Yeah.
So it just opens up conversation. Like, I didn't go out and actively pursue her and say, "Hey, by the way, I'm a realtor," like whenever I first met her, but I post consistently. I'm a constant presence there. And over time, I like to think that in her mind, I've built myself as this credible source of real estate information. So when she was ready, she reaches out to me.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked, at least for this person.
Yeah. One thing about that is that I try to add everybody on Facebook, but this is not a flex, but it's just the truth. I'm maxed out on friends.
Whoa. Okay. Big timer. Okay. Mr.
right?
5,000 plus.
And so I switched my account to professional mode, and that has really helped me get a lot of reach. And so if you haven't yet, I would suggest switching your account to professional mode. And that basically is a blend between a business page and a personal page.
And it allows, if I'm not mistaken, that allows for more contacts, like more people in your friends group, or no?
So instead of friends,
Followers.
they become followers. And so so people, when they request a friend or like send a friend request, they become a follower.
Gotcha.
And it's really cool because there's a professional dashboard, and it shows you how many people are looking at your account and how many times your account has showed up in front of other people. And also, if you create engaging content, it actually sends your account out to more people.
And can't you get monetized for that too?
Yes. And so, I mean, right now it's not much, but I'm making like probably an extra $30 a month.
It's something.
Yeah.
And it can only, like, it's going to grow from there.
Yeah. And so, and that's just from what I'm already doing. So it's just sharing the videos that I'm already doing to get clients. And it's cool because like that $30 goes straight towards my editors, right? That I'm already paying them.
You're fueling the machine that you're getting paid for, basically.
Yeah. So if you haven't yet, definitely consider switching your account to a professional mode. And then also for me, I switched it to a verified account. And the reason why I did that is because there is a lot of that people. There's a lot of people that have tried to hack my account, and there's extra insurance, I guess, or extra security
Resources
if you do have a verified account. And I literally have support. Now I can talk to somebody at Facebook if somebody tries to get into my account.
I will say I did verified for a little bit, and I didn't know what it was really doing for me. And then once I got off of it, I felt like my, I don't know if this is like an intentional thing that they do. I feel like my content reach has been absolutely strapped.
Interesting.
I feel like, I mean, I went from getting, probably 1,500 plays on something to like, I'm struggling to break like 150 to 200. I feel like it limited my reach pretty drastic. I have no proof of that. It's just kind of what I've noticed is whenever I was engaged or whenever I was paying for verified, it pushed it to more people who weren't in my friends group.
Interesting.
And I felt like the reach was broader. I probably need to get back on it just because it's
well,
good.
If you monetize too, that can potentially pay for the verification, and people are like, you pay for verification. I do, but for a reason. And it does.
I always love those people. I love the internet, bro.
Yeah. They don't know
A bunch of trolls.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, like if like you get paid, you essentially get paid to create content.
Yeah.
And same thing with me. Like one of my favorite things, a few episodes ago, I was talking about hockey Twitter. I said something that was inflaming in a comment, knowing it was going to ruffle some feathers. And I love
this.
I love when people's responses like, well, you're literally one guy was like, well, you're a realtor. No one cares what you say. Yeah. And I was like, brother, I get paid for my opinion. Like, kick rocks. Like, you're literally a nobody on the internet. Let's chill.
Yeah. I've been trolling a lot more lately.
You getting sucked into it?
Yeah.
Just having fun with it or what?
Yeah. People are like, you're just mad because blah, blah, blah. Or you don't want whatever. And I'm like, I'm not mad. Like, I'm actually pretty happy.
Yeah. My life kicks ass.
I literally said that, actually. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like trolling. It's just when people nitpick at me.
I don't even think that's, I don't troll. Like, I don't try to initiate a whole lot of stuff. Like, for example, that comment that I made, I knew it was going to ruffle feathers, but that's just because there's two opposing teams. The other team's fan base is obviously going to get upset if I say it. I don't care who wins. My team's not in it. But here's my observation. Then everyone tries to dunk on you, which is just the way the internet works. But if you come at me, I'm getting a lot more comfortable with matching your energy. So whatever you come at me with, I'm going to come at you with.
Yeah.
There was this guy.
But do you think there really is like bots that just troll?
Oh, 100%.
Like
There's this is gonna sound so conspiracy theorist. There's literally like Russian troll farms of users, especially on Twitter. It's real rampant on Twitter, where if you go to their page or like someone responds to you and it sounds like inflammatory or like they're trying to get a rise out of you, and you click on their page, it's obviously not a real person. Yeah. It's so obvious.
Well, one time
and it's
I was
to like
replying
create it's to create like
tension,
angst and tension and division. And that's the whole goal. Like there's some that like were owned by I think like 10. I heard this on Rogan, so I'm no verifiable source myself, but supposedly like 10 of the top 12 like Christian Facebook pages were run by Russian troll farms.
Interesting.
It's crazy. Like it's weird that like people
10 of the top. That doesn't sound right,
bro. You should look it up. It's kind of wild.
Well, one time I was replying to some random, and the quickness of how they replied seemed almost unbelievable, right? And it was like
not authentic.
Yeah, I would say something, and then literally seconds later, it would be like a long paragraph right after that was like, well, you just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I reply, and then literally a paragraph, like just whatever counterintuitive to whatever.
Yeah. Well, people just like talking out their butts too. I had one guy, he was real because I went on his profile and went back like a few. I like to investigate a little bit. I didn't like pick at him or anything, but I wanted to see who I was dealing with, who was talking about me. And you know my Facebook picture, I'm holding Landon, and it's just me and Landon. His comment to me was, well, you're a deadbeat dad who doesn't get visitation rights or something like that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, go have another drink, bud. Like, take it easy. Anyway, online's fun. Yeah. It's fun if you don't take it too serious.
Well, you know, that brings me to another conversation is like, sometimes you do have to get a little bit callous to like other people's opinions, especially when you're putting out content that might be, you know, it's crazy. Like, we're just real estate agents, and it might offend people that we're putting out a nice house. Like, oh, you're just too good for, you know,
well, people,
literally those conversations have happened where it's like, oh, you just think you're good because you do videos at nice houses. I'm like, what?
Or I love the people who are like, who buy out of their own pocket, where like, just because I can't afford this means that other people can't afford this. And therefore no one should be able to afford this. People have a very victim and poor mentality, unfortunately. And online, you get to hide behind an avatar or a lack of one in a username. Idris Elba had a really interesting opinion on social media. He said you should have to tie your social to your social media accounts, your social security number, so that you're a traceable person and that you can't have all these unverified accounts just saying whatever. Which I think is an interesting concept.
Maybe a social media platform that does that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the other part is I don't know that I would ever give a social media company my social security number willingly.
Yeah.
I mean, they have it. I mean, I know you have to for the creator profile on Facebook to become a professional or whatever. So they can pay you because they have to 1099 you if you make so much money. Yep.
You're right. Yeah, because I'm making a whopping $30 a month. Okay, so let's get into the main conversation.
Let's do it.
We're 30 minutes in. I don't know how long we'll talk about this, but divorce clients are definitely a different breed because you really have to navigate it sensitively, right? And there's definitely some strategies that I've had to figure out myself because I've gone through situations where I didn't even realize that there was a problem. You know, one of the main situations that I did where I had a neighbor that was selling their house, and so I was just dealing with him, and he would just tell me, yeah, we're civil, you know, and we're going to sell our house. This is how much we want to sell it for. And at that time I thought that was a good price. So I go ahead and list it, and, you know, I'm noticing that we're not getting good offers, and it's sitting a little longer than expected. And I tell him, we're going to have to lower the price. And he says, yeah, that's fine. The next day, I get an email from the current wife. They're getting divorced.
Soon to be ex-wife.
Soon to be ex-wife. And she says, don't you think you need to be talking to me about a price reduction, right? And I thought to myself, wow.
I guess so. Never dawned on me. Like, I figured if y'all were civil, exactly. I could totally see that where you are going if someone tells you one thing and it's like, okay, I don't know any different.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing all the good, because that's typically how it goes too. I feel like with listings, there's usually one party is more involved than the other, because someone else, in that relationship, someone usually wants someone else to handle things.
Yes. And that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned when working with divorce clients, is that you always want to make sure that both clients are on the same communication thread, right? And so whether it's texts or emails or whatever, make sure both of them are on there, because they're going through a difficult situation, right?
Yeah.
And you definitely, especially if one person picks the real estate agent, the other party may think that I'm on their side, on the other person's side, right? And so for me, I'm always very clear and upfront now, right? This happened years ago, but that is one of the biggest tips that I'll give, is always having both parties on every single channel, right? Whether it be text,
it's a CYA.
Yes.
Like, cover your butt, make it to where it can't be, oh, John was favoriting one person over the other, therefore there's an ethical issue involved. Because we're here, like, we're navigating we're a third party coming into your difficult situation.
Yeah.
And so the better that we can be neutral and treat everything as normal, and hey, we all have this common goal of getting your house sold. Let's just all like communicate through here. How do you prefer to be communicated with?
Yeah.
That's another thing. And I think text is really easy because it's instant. It keeps everything all in one place.
Text.
I like text.
Okay,
Like, so
I thought you said Texas.
No, sorry, texting. So if you're, I had my first divorce listing interview last week, and they're civil. They let me know. They're like, it's not like we're not going to be talking to each other. We just have a common goal of separation. Yeah. When we get to that point of signing the agreement, then it's going to have the discussion of, how do you want me to communicate with both of you? Even though you said that you're civil, like, do you guys want to be in a common group thread?
I don't ask that. I just do it.
Just do it?
Yeah.
Well, other than like, and if maybe email is better for one person, or like they always have their, their business phone with their email or something versus text messaging. But just asking and saying what works best for you and being flexible with what that looks like.
Yeah. And here's the thing, emotions might be high on their end, right? And so for me, I try to be very matter of fact, right? Hey guys, interest rates are higher right now, which will cause less buyer traffic. It may take longer to sell your home, right? I'm not saying, hey guys, I bring zero emotion to it, because if I do, like, emotions on their end are very high.
You're right.
Normally I don't bring emotion to it, but very matter of fact. These are the stats. This is what the market's saying, right? This I never say, oh well, your neighbor sold for X amount, and those are our friends, and I'm matter of fact. You know?
I do the same thing. I mean, I think about the one divorce listing that I've had a conversation with. I've had to be, and I just figured, again, I hadn't walked into this situation before, but just analyzing and knowing the basics of what they're going through and going, man, I don't need to go in here and like feel any type of way that they feel about this house. Like, it's already sucky enough for them that they bought this and are having to sell it. And like, things are rapidly changing in their lives. So the more that I can come in and say, this is what I think based on this, and showing it to them, and not being like, well, I think you could do this, or like, this is what the data suggests. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I'm that way with not even just divorce listings. I'm that way with people who think that they can do my job better than I can.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, they have determined in their own mind that they know more than I do. So why am I going to waste my time trying to convince them otherwise? Now it's just, here's what's happening. Here's your options. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
It's very like cut and dry, black and white. There's not a lot of like feelers. And it's not even so much difficult people. It's just a certain personality type as well.
Well, and personality types change, especially when you're getting divorced, right? Personalities that you've never seen before,
Could come out. Yeah.
Who is this person that I've known for 20 years? Change completely, and that's one thing for me is like, I never try to pick a side. I have zero say in that. I'm literally giving stats and facts.
I'm here to sell your house.
Yes.
That's it. Yep. I want to get you paid so that you guys can move on.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so communication, if there's anything that you learn from this, communication is the number one thing that you need to be focused on, right? And open communication, clear
That's going to
communication.
requires almost like an elevated communication as compared to other transactions. Because again, in a normal transaction, and I would say this is a total guess, I would say 90+% of relationships, there's someone who I think the couple would agree upon is a decision maker, or the person that would be the person you would talk to with a big decision.
Yes, correct.
The other person goes, I'll just do whatever.
Yep.
I know that like if we were selling my house, Katie's not going to be the one to be like, I feel strongly about this.
Yeah.
She's going to be like, just take care of it.
Yes.
And 90+% of couples, I would say, are like that. Divorces probably skewed down a little bit. There's probably more of there's a much heavier split on people who care about the outcome for sure.
Also with divorces, leave nothing to assumption, because if you assume they think or they know something, it's going to bite you in the butt. And so, for example, maybe you assume that they know that they need to do a price drop later, right? But you never talk to them about that, right? But in their minds, they're thinking, when we get divorced, I'm going to make 90 grand and they're going to make 90 grand, right?
And now you're coming back suggesting that the price drop, they're going to only make 70. Well, now there's a $20,000 swing that they weren't expecting. And that's just one more level of crap that they have to deal with.
Exactly. But one of the parties needs that 90 grand because they're not going to have a down payment for their next house, right? And so with those conversations, leave nothing to assumption, right? Nothing. You have to make sure you have clear expectations from the very beginning, clear expectations, clear communication, because that's definitely something I've learned is I just assumed,
Yeah.
and that's one thing you need to do with every client, but especially with divorce clients, is never assume.
Yeah. This particular scenario with me, I haven't earned the listing yet because we're still a few weeks out. We're probably going to list a little bit for, next month. And knowing that I haven't earned it, the communication is still there. One thing I'm doing is I'm keeping an eye on what comes new to market, what goes pending, and what gets sold week over week to show my value to them. In addition to just, hey, I'm not here just to give you my pitch and you accept or not. It's like, I'm still working. Like, you haven't even hired me yet. And look at the tabs I'm keeping on this neighborhood for you because I care about, I want to take care of you. Yeah. Who else is providing you this information other than me?
Yeah. Two more things. One, when it is a divorce situation and one person has moved out and one person still lives there, I always suggest that one person still leaves clothes in the closet, due to the fact that I know that some buyers they suck and they notice that one person is gone.
They pay attention. Yes.
And so I've even had buyers notice that and say, oh, this has to be a divorce because the women's clothes is gone, right? But the pictures are still up, And so
they're like hawks, bro. They're not missing that. That's crazy.
And so you never want to leave your clients at a disadvantage when buyers know, oh, this is a divorce situation. Let's offer less, right? They need to sell or whatever. And it sucks. But it's the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like playing a game of poker and having one of your cards facing out and showing the rest of the table.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like you want to hold those cards to your chest so that you can have the best hand when you're representing them. That's a fantastic tip. I never would have thought of that ever. That's awesome. Like I'm going to implement that if I earn this listing.
And then the next tip is to never, obviously the same thing, never tell the buyers, or if it's a listing, never tell the buyers that it's a divorce situation. Never. And then also,
Yeah, they just need to relocate.
yeah, they need to relocate.
Yeah, which isn't a lie.
Nope.
They do need to relocate. They don't need to know what the situation behind the scenes is.
Yeah. And then you have to be sensitive in every situation, even when it's a neighbor coming over during an open house. Like even when,
Dude, there's so many dynamics to a divorce listing I never thought about.
yes,
Straight up, like your neighbors coming over now, they could pick up on what's going on.
Yes.
Like there's a lot at stake here.
yeah. And I had a situation where the kid didn't even know that their parents were.
Oh,
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah. And so they did let me know, hey, just to let you know, we haven't told our kids yet. And they were amicable and they were civil. And so I had to, I had to sell the house or get the house ready. And then at a certain point they did tell their kids. But the sensitivity of the situation is extremely important. Family might not even know, like extended family might not know. I know that their neighbors didn't know and they came over. Right. But I didn't say anything. But just that hypersensitivity of not letting anybody know, because that will tip your hand. It could be a $20,000 difference,
Yeah. At the end of the day, it comes down to your fiduciary responsibilities. We're there to, whoever signs on that representation list, that's whatever their best interests are, that's what we're here to uphold.
Yeah.
And if that's keeping information as far as what the situation is, and that's going to help them be in a more advantageous, scenario than if it's known, that's what you have to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Another tip, and this might be different in other states, but in Texas, I know that I've always been told, at least by divorce attorneys, that it's important not to file before you sell. Now,
File what exactly?
file for divorce,
Oh, gotcha.
because it may show up on the title, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
But if there is a divorce decree, that you need to give the title company the divorce decree. Now, listeners, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that in the past, my title company has recommended, hey, don't do anything. Let's split the money up 50-50 and then finalize the divorce, right? Unless you have a divorce decree.
I'm thinking about it now. I have had one divorce listing already. That was my highest listing I ever did.
Oh, yeah. And they were very civil, too.
They were. There was a little bit of awkwardness, like at a certain point, like whenever they were like bringing up the divorce. What triggered it in my mind was you saying divorce decree, because I was like, oh yeah, that's how they know that who's getting paid what and who's entitled to what, and yeah, that's how we got it settled. And yeah, I mean they were fine. Like we met up at the house and everything. They were cool, but it could easily go the other way. And that's why you're there as a third party to just advise on what they're looking to accomplish. You're not there to take sides. I can imagine, like, I bet it's so easy for someone to like favor the person who maybe introduced them to the idea of selling the house.
Yes.
And the other person's just looked at as an accessory. But no, like they're a 50% owner and have a 50% interested stake in what happens here. They are an equal to that person.
Yeah. And
in most cases.
And this is just my opinion. And listeners, please don't take offense to this, but every aspect needs to become very neutral, even the way you dress. So extreme modesty, because I have heard, I don't know, the husband.
Oh yeah, man.
The husband.
I mean, hey, real estate's a female-dominated industry, and there's I don't know if this is not kosher or not. There's a lot of very attractive women that are realtors.
Yeah.
And that can be looked at as a threat to someone coming in like, oh, well, of course the husband chose you or something of that nature. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's why I stay ugly, bro. I don't want to be a threat to nobody.
Right. Yeah. And so, for me, I'm not an ugly person. I'm just kidding.
You know, sure.
Just kidding. So when I walk in the house, you know, and the ex-wife hired me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
She said, "I don't care about your sales record. You just gotta sell our shirtless. You gotta be shirtless at this listing presentation."
But for real, yeah, just modesty is super important in those situations, because I have seen those situations happen where it's like, oh, that's why you hired her.
Yeah.
You know. Anything else?
I don't know about on divorces. Like I said, my experience in it's pretty limited, but I think it's just having a good awareness of the situation.
Yes.
And being non-biased, just being super professional.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's so hard. I imagine if it's like your friends and how hard that must be for them.
Yeah.
And assuming that they hire you. Because I know a lot of times if it's friends divorcing, they don't want a friend realtor representing them because it's too close to home, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in that scenario, like what a crazy mix of emotions they must be going through. And so the more on the line and unbiased that you can be, the better.
Yeah. So I am Hispanic, and
what?
Yes. And I know
Congratulations.
I know in my culture, information travels fast, right? And so for me, like, you know, my grandma wants to know the tea, you know, and my dad wants to know the tea, and he's going to share it with my grandma, and he's going to share it with my cousins, you know. And so that's why it's so important, like, to keep the tea to yourself.
Sure. 100%. Yeah. Cause you could find out, like, you tell I know in my family, especially, like if I have a secret or something and I know who I can and can't tell stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I tell this person, it's going to be in the family group chat against my will in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. It's nuts how quickly that can go through.
Yeah.
So with really sensitive information or very private information, yeah, just use discretion.
I just don't open the door to any type of gossip at all.
Yeah. That's good. I forgot to tell you something off camera about a goal of mine.
Okay.
But that's something that brought up something for me. And it's good to have goals. I mean, if anything, it's something that keeps me motivated. I hit my cap here at our brokerage, and I'm excited because where I was previously, I didn't have a cap. So there was this never ending hamster wheel of, for new agents who are listening, I used to think cap was a bad word. I used to think caps were bad. And it's because I didn't understand
What is a cap?
So a cap is how much you basically pay your brokerage through your transactions.
Yeah.
And so with us, it's 16 grand. That's a 80-20 split. And so the way that works is that 20% that your brokerage is taking is capped at 16,000. Mm-hmm. Once you hit 16,000, you have the rest of whatever your the year period is for you from when you joined, or whatever your anniversary date is, to be at 100%. So the goal is cap as quickly as possible, and then sell as many homes as you can at 100%.
And it looks like you've got a lot of stuff in the move.
Well, imagine I do, and I'm like, I got to sell by this date. Like, I've got so much stuff that's
September?
on the line. October 1st, and so
You got some months.
so I got some months.
4 months, 3 months.
Yeah, roughly, like 3.5 or so. So, but it's cool because imagine getting a 20% raise at your job. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we're talking real estate in an average transaction, that's no small amount of money.
Well, don't forget the revenue share too. That's chipping down that 16 grand that you paid off too.
Yeah.
And so hopefully next year the whole 16 grand is going to be right back in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this year maybe half of it, I don't know, it's going to be paid off. So
Yeah.
now it's like you're not really paying 16,
Mm-hmm.
paying 8.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to work it to where it's super advantageous. But I'm excited because I look at my transactions that I have currently pending, and I go, ooh, that paycheck looks real nice.
Dude,
Like, I gotta work to get this thing done.
some of these people won't care. Some people will be like, oh, that's not even that much. But I made an extra 40 grand this year from revenue share. And I'm like, dude, if
I think what's cool for those that who'd listen to that and go, so what? The brokerage paid you and I money to do what we would have normally done anywhere else. How freaking sick is that?
yeah. And so 16 grand, yes, 40 grand.
At no detriment to our agents, by the way. Like, what a concept.
It's insane. I know. So it was just like a bonus of $40,000 this year, and next year, hopefully it's double that. And then the next year, hopefully it's double that.
Yeah.
And so it's just such a new, interesting way of making money. And the new model that they've just released, I was a little worried because of the way things were looking, but
well, we've got new leadership where we're at too. We have a new CEO, and he's been, I feel like they've just been rolling out some really sick stuff. And instead of, there's a lot of people scared about these upcoming changes, and people ask like, oh, like, why are you at EXP as opposed to the next shiny object? Look at the leadership that we have. Look at the proven structure that we have. Look at the profitability, the track record that we have. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. There's shiny objects got a lot of things to distract people. If you want free car washes, absolutely.
Well, I think it's the new model.
Yeah.
I think it's, if you can't adapt to this model, it might be hard for profitability, right? And so if you're not at a brokerage that's profitable, then that money is not going to be going back into your bank account.
Yeah.
Right?
When you and I were both at a big box brokerage where they did not revenue share, but profit share.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not profitable, there's no profit share.
Yeah.
So it's funny that congratulations on your $1 you earned this year.
Well, and that's another thing is like where we're at has been profitable this entire time. But even if it wasn't profitable, we're getting revenue share. Mm-hmm. So revenue and profit are two different things. Yeah, but that's enough about our pitch.
Yeah. We just get excited about it. It's been a long time since we've talked about it, and we now have something to reflect back on, because I remember when we joined, it was about a year ago, coming up.
8 months. It was 8 months ago.
Well, we signed an LOI.
Oh, yeah.
And so technically,
why are you putting all of our information out there?
Dude, I'm just saying, it's been about a year, and now we have something to look back on and go, it could have not worked.
Yeah.
And it could have been something like someone sold me on something that didn't work.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it wasn't that. And it's everything that we took a chance on.
Yeah.
And it's cool because now we get to be in a leadership position where we are pouring into our agents on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And we get compensated by the brokerage to help make other people successful, which I think is a beautiful way to run business.
Well, here's the thing, guys, if you're like, I love it where I'm at. Perfect. That's awesome. I'm always from the mindset of water the grass where you're at, because the grass is always greener. You know what I mean? And so the grass.
But if the same water can water 3 plants instead of 1 plant, if you're in a place where you're going to water just 1 plant, but you've got other opportunities that have 3 different plants with that same water, or a bigger fire hose or something of that sort.
Yeah.
We're of the mindset that we never turn down the opportunity to look at what can advance our business.
Yeah.
I'll stop talking about it. I'm done.
Okay. So what I was trying to get at is that we're going to support you guys no matter where you're at. But if you want more support at a deeper level, we'd be more than it would be our pleasure to help you guys. But if you stay, cool, we're happy for you, and encourage you to water the grass that you're at, right?
And we love hearing your wins, no matter where you're at. Doesn't matter what brokerage you're at. We just love seeing people win. I love people changing their lives through real estate and seeing what it did for me.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
And it's just cool. There's a lot of struggle out there. These times are not. We see it all the time in the dads group. I know a personal friend of mine who got laid off this week, and I feel for those people. And I'm just really excited that the opportunity that real estate provides for us, for everybody, is incredible.
I saw that meme that said, it's like real estate agents wake up every single day without a job, and they're constantly trying to find that next deal, or what is it? Something like that.
Something of that nature. Yeah.
Do I have?
But it's not even like waking up chasing the next deal. I think the way that we run business, it's like we trust the process that we have, and we trust that if we love on our people and we continue to grow and build and network and have a really good time doing it, that it will come back to us.
Yeah, I agree.
And so far, that's been a working formula for us.
Yeah. Jordan, close us out.
I'm getting a call from my lender, so I need to go anyway. Guys, thank you so much for listening. As we said earlier in the episode, if you are listening on YouTube or Spotify, Apple, no matter where you're at, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed anything, if you learned something new or an implementable tactic for your business. We just appreciate you so much for listening. You can follow us at Real Estate Virgins Podcast on Instagram. I am Jordan Sells ATX.
At John Michael Perez.
Thank you guys so much. We will catch you in the next one.